What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Cjthecheesedj here, and we are back with some more dino builds, and today we are taking a look at none other than the Thylacoleo, the gigantic marsupial. That's right, he's a marsupial. Many of you guys think he's something else, but he's actually a marsupial. So if you guys haven't tuned in for any of these previous videos where we do the dino builds, essentially what we do is we max level these guys up from level 150, maximum tame. So you can see these guys tamed up at 225. These guys were summoned in at 150, which is the max wild level. And then what we do is we fully give them all their points for leveling up. And we go over a couple of builds that you can actually use these dinos for. So we have done it for the Rex, the Spino, the Argy, and the Wyvern before. Today we're taking a look at the Thylacoleo, and there's three main roles you want to be using your Thylacoleos for. Now do take into mind that these Thylacoleos also have the wild stats, so these guys aren't bred or anything, so their stats will differ slightly. So you can see there, this guy here has the highest health out of the 6,300. So he's going to be a particular amount, a particular role for him anyway. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Now, the first role, you know, these guys aren't too difficult to tame up, but we're just going to go over their abilities quickly for you guys. The main one that you will be utilizing the most is their ability to climb up 90-degree angled terrains, walls, structures, player structures, whatever the heck you can think of, as long as it's 90 degrees and it can actually get a grapple on. You can see there, these trees are too small for the Thylacoleo, so you actually have to make sure that it has a certain amount of girth to it. You can see there, we're able to climb up this wall, easy peasy lemon squeezy. There it is there, done, dusted. That is the Thylacoleo's main ability. Now, another main ability that the Thylacoleo can do is you can actually pivot around on the spot while being on the platform, and you can actually leap off, pounce onto the target, pin the player off the mount, or pin the mount. It's a great way for PvP and to take players off their higher up mounts. I don't think it works on the bigger mounts such as the T-Rexes, the Spinos and stuff, but if they're riding all around on like a Beaver, another Thylacoleo, a Carno, anything like that, you can easily pounce on them and take them off their mounts. Now, as you guys would have seen, he also has the ability to jump, which, you know, it isn't an amazingly high jump. You know, it's a lot smaller than the Beezle Bufo, even like the Procoptodon. Obviously, it's not going to be bigger than the Procoptodon. But you can easily utilize this jump to get around really easily, like really simply. You know, you can, and he takes reduced fall damage as well. I've noticed he doesn't actually take as much fall damage as some of the other mounts that jump, which is, you know, it's a great way to not worry about health and everything. You can see here, here we go. Yeah, you know, not as much health as you'd expect, so there is that as well. Now that we've gone over his abilities, let's get into some roles of the Thylacoleo. So the first one that we are going to cover today is the travel mount. Now, this guy is a really good mount for traveling and carrying lots of items across the map, and just traversing the map in general. Now, you can see here, this guy, like I said, is a 150. He's got a decent amount of health, a good amount of stamina is always useful for traversing terrains. He also has a really solid amount of weight and melee damage and movement speed, obviously. Now, you can see here, he's obviously not the fastest mount, but he is one of the faster creatures in ARK, and you can easily utilize this to carry yourself around the map with any items you so wish to choose to carry with you. Now, as well as that, it also makes traveling easier that he can actually scale mountainsides. Yep, that's definitely going to be a big help when traveling around ARK. There you go, you can see there, look at this guy go, absolutely nailed it, and we are now in the snow, a brand new biome from where we were previously. Now, for this build, you will be wanting to level up movement speed, weight, and stamina. You don't need to worry about health too much. Level up health if you'd like a more solid Thylacoleo. You know, you could easily get this guy up to 8k health depending on his wild stats, but if you plan to use this guy for a travel mount, you will want to level up stamina easily so you don't run out of stamina. You can just keep running, climbing up the walls, doing whatever the heck you want. You also want to level up weight, obviously, because, well, the more weight, the more you can carry, which means carrying items is a lot easier for yourself. You know, easily up to 1200 weight, I would say, is a solid amount of weight. Heck, you can even go further if you wanted to, easily getting it up to 1500. Once you get it up to 1500 weight, I probably wouldn't put any more weight in this guy because, well, it's not that worth it. You know, I would probably stop at 1000 myself and then put the rest of the points into movement speed, if you so choose to. You know, some people complain that movement speed is wasted. However, if you invest a solid amount of points into it, it can make a very big difference for the Thylacoleo and yourself and traversing the terrain. It really does help a lot. Now, like I said, if you did only get your weight up to 1000, you could easily dump the rest of those points into movement speed, and you would have a very fast Thylacoleo on your hands. But, you know, that's all there really is for this build. Like I said, it's a traveling build, so you're going to be using this guy to jump off cliffs, get across the map as fast as possible, so you will need to get points into movement speed and weight, as well as stamina. Stamina is optional. You know, you can always choose to just stop running and replenish it, but the Thylacoleo has ridiculously high amounts of stamina as it is, and his stamina drain meter drains at a very slow pace as well. Now, the reason you want to use this guy as traveling mount as well is because, well, anything that he fights up against, he's going to wreck it. Like, look at this trike. There's no way this trike is going to survive against us. Thylacoleos are easily capable of taking down Rexes and the larger prey. So, travel mount for the Thylacoleo, that's the first build we're going with. So, the next build that we will be covering with the Thylacoleo is the War Mount build. This is the build you definitely want to invest in with a Thylacoleo. These guys are absolutely crazy killing machines when it comes to dealing damage and their health. Now, already they have relatively high amounts of health when you first tame them up. Like this guy here, he's got 6,300 health, but their actual base health is very close to a Rex, if I can remember correctly. But you can see here, this guy's got 6,300 health. He's got a decent amount of weight, obviously, so, you know, you can use this for raiding and everything. Stamina as well is also really great, and his melee damage as well is a lot higher than the other two Thylacoleos that we have at the moment. And even now, it's actually pretty high. So with this build, you are definitely just going to want to pump up health. Health and melee damage are your go-to for this build. You know, you want a War Mount build, you're going to be utilizing this guy in battle, which means you need health in part with Rexes and Spinos and everything like that. You know, easily 15k with a Thylacoleo, that'll help you take on anything and everything. The rest you can either dump into melee damage, or you can even take up to 20k health if you so choose to. Now, at this stage, you can choose to invest a few points into stamina. Me, myself, I like to get at least 2,000 points of stamina with the Thylacoleo, which is only like 2 points into stamina. These guys have a huge amount of stamina, and it drains very slowly, so you don't need to worry about that too much. But, you know, with weight as well, you don't really need to worry about as well if you're taming up high level ones. 584 weight is plenty to get through what you need it for, and then you just want to dump the rest into melee damage. Now, you saw previously with our other Thylacoleo, he had a melee damage percentage of 301, and he was hitting 202. So theoretically, this guy should hit in the 300s, hopefully. We'll find out shortly. But this guy is great for the War Mount build, because technically you'll be using this guy to scale the the base wars of your opponents who you're trying to raid. Granted, if they do have turrets, you will need to watch out for that. But if they don't, well, then you don't need to worry about that. Now, maybe my mind has gone for fuzzled, but maybe the previous Thylacoleo was hitting 122. I'm going to have to take a look back at that. But you can see here, like, you know, 212 damage is crazy. There is definitely a lot stronger things in ARK. However, the Thylacoleo is a great medium-sized war mount, and one you should definitely invest in taming and getting into leveling into, into health and melee damage, because it will definitely be a decision you will not regret. Now, we're just going to quickly test this, because I'm pretty sure it was like 100-something, 120-something. Are you going to follow us, other Thylacoleo? Yeah, here we go. All right, so here he comes. Let's get him to attack this tribe. Let's take a looky. There we go. You can see that my brain wasn't kerfuffled. 122 damage is how much that one does with the 300 base melee damage. This one here is hitting 212. That was a 145 try. Now, if you get a group of these guys and, you know, they're mate boosted, these two aren't even mate boosted. Imagine the damage potential that you could do with a couple of war-mounted Thylacoleos. You are looking at some serious damage that'll easily take on the likes of Rexes and Spinos and everything. These guys are great, and Thylacoleos are definitely one of my favorite dinos, but this is the war mount build for the Thylacoleo, so definitely you want to invest your points into health. Just a quick recap: health, a little bit of stamina, and the rest into melee damage. Alrighty guys, now the final Thylacoleo build is just a general all-purpose one in general. We're not going to pump any points into him for this one. This is just a quick one that we're going to say. The Thylacoleo is a great mount because technically he's a jack of all trades. Even if you don't pump any points in particular to a particular stat, he still has great all-round stats. Great health, great stamina drain, great weight, great melee damage, and great movement speed. He is also a really good swimmer. So if you want a Thylacoleo mainly suited for just everything and anything, just pump the points equally split into health, stamina, weight, melee damage, and movement speed. You know, you could easily not level any points into weight if you so choose to, but if you want to put weights into melee damage, health, stamina, movement speed, you'll easily have a mount that can contend with anything on the ARK. However, the final last mount roll thing that we want to show you guys is the base defense Thylacoleo. Now, if you guys have a base built up, which obviously you would, and you've got like a dino gate or, you know, anything, you know, you can even stick these guys on the outside. All you need to do is climb up your wall without launching yourself off in the process. Okay, maybe we need to make this wall even higher. So you can actually stick these guys on your base walls and use them as base defense. Now, you'll see what I mean, because essentially what you need to do is just stick your Thylacoleos on neutral. Oh, seriously, dude? Can you just not... There we go. Alright, just managed to get it. All you need to do is stick your Thylacoleos on neutral, spin them around so that they stick into their pounce positions. Now, you can leave these guys in your base or on the outside of your base walls. It's up to you, but you can see this guy is stuck here. He will not move until he runs out of stamina, in which case he will fall off and drop to the ground. Now, if that happens, well, then you're in a bit of a pickle. The only way that happens, like I said, is if he runs out of stamina. But if an enemy player comes up to your base, enemy dinos and wild dinos just come up and start attacking your base, attacking your dinos, and this guy is set to neutral, he will pounce on them and attack them. Now, if they're the smaller mounts, like the smaller dinos, such as the terror birds, the raptors and all that, he'll attack them, pounce on the raptor, and kill them. Same goes for PvPers. If they're riding on a mount that's, say, like a Diabear, a Thylacoleo themselves, they'll actually jump off and pounce onto the player and pin the player and leave the mount there. Now, the added benefit of having these guys inside your base is if you do get raided and the raiders don't actually blow up your wall that the Thylacoleo are on, well then, they are in for a bit of a surprise when the Thylacoleo will pounce on them and kill them. Now, if you're worried about how to get your Thylacoleo down, all you need to do is either whistle it to follow you, or you can whistle it to move to a point. In which case, it should jump down. Dude, why aren't you jumping? You're gonna... Okay, well, there you go. You can see there, now he jumps off. So, the good thing about this is that this build is mainly situated around stamina and melee damage. Health, you don't need to worry about too much because, well, the players aren't going to be expecting it when they come into your base. You just want to make sure that they have enough stamina to be able to stay on the walls forever. Because if they run out of stamina, they will drop from the wall and they can take full damage, which, you know, it's not obviously going to be too much. But their stamina, you need to bump up extremely high. Consider their stamina, their health, and you can then leave them stationed on the wall for a very long time, which definitely comes in handy. Now, their melee damage, obviously, you're going to level up because you want them to pretty much one-hit the players, even in their armor. Well, that's not always the case, so make sure they've got extra melee damage. But yeah, it's a great way to deter players from attacking you, especially if you've got them situated on the inside, because if the players have your items on their bodies, and you get your Thylacoleo set there in the pounce position, well, essentially what will happen is the Thylacoleo will kill the player and get all your items back from the player's inventory, plus whatever added items the player had in their inventory. So it's a great way to have extra base defense, and that is our final build for the Thylacoleos, and that concludes this video, guys. So hopefully you did find this useful. If you've got any other dinosaurs you'd like to see with the dino builds, let me know down below in the comments. But other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed these builds, and I will catch you in the next one.